Should the Cowboys pay Trevon Diggs this offseason? Decision comes with risk reward. This is your guy, Michael Gelkin in the Morning News, our guy, great reporter. And he's got good sources here in the Michael Irvin story. So follow Gelkin on Twitter and read his stuff in the Morning News. But what do you think about the idea of an extension for Trevon Diggs this offseason? He does have 1 year left as a second-round pick, 4 years. But maybe you want to get things done early, avoid any drama. I could have gone either way on this a couple of weeks ago, gentlemen. But now that his brother, Stefon Diggs, is on the table, I think it's a no-brainer. You give the Diggs family what they want. You send the message to Stefon through Trevon. Cowboys don't mess around with the Diggs family. It's time to get you paid, and it's time to get you guys together. Boom, big money for Trevon. I think you want to influence a possible forced trade out of Buffalo any way you can. And besides that, Trevon's really good. You want a Super Bowl winning type player, Trevon can help you do that. His brother's better at receiver than Trevon is at corner. I don't know if it's that close. I don't think Trevon is elite, but the difference in what you're going to pay him by dragging this thing out for a couple of years is going to be small and not worth the drama, Chief.
Well, I've made my stance clear on this. Trevon Diggs would not be in my plans, but if the end game is to get the other Diggs, that's probably a great starting point. Now, you're going to have to pay him. You don't think he's an elite player, but you're probably going to have to pay him elite money this offseason.
Yeah, I'm prepared to do that around 19 or 20 mil.
Okay.
Not market setting money, not the absolute top, but pretty dang close. And it hurts. I don't think his coverage is that great. We had broken plays. He didn't tackle, but I still think he's definitely one of the best corners in the game.
Does anybody off the top of their head know how old he is?
I mean, he's got 25. I was going to say something like 25.
Okay, because the top corners are I'm looking at the ages of the top corners and what they're paid. Jair Alexander is 26. He's making an average of $21 million a year. So it goes like him, Denzel Ward at $20 million, Jalen Ramsey at $20 million, Marlon Humphrey at $19 million. The ages are 26, 26, 29, 27.
Yeah, we're 24 and a half right now.
He would be the youngest guy by far. Yeah. By far. Because you're getting some guys like Marshawn Lattimore is at 27. Xavier Howard is 30. Tre'Davious White is 28. Darius Slay's 32. I just stop me when he's better than. Stop me when he's better than. Like I mentioned, Alexander.
Probably rather have Jair.
Yeah. Denzel Ward. See, now again, this is unfair because I can't honestly say I watch a lot of Cleveland Browns.
Haven't seen him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he makes $20 million. Jalen Ramsey.
Age appears to have a declining factor for him.
Marlon Humphrey with the Ravens is making $19 million a year. Would you rather have Marlon Humphrey or?
I think it's a tie.
Marshawn Lattimore. See, like to say, Xavier Howard. I mean, White, Slay. It's. I think it's a hard.
He's
group.
In that group.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a hard group, and it stops where it stops being $20 million is with the third guy. So Alexander, Ward, and Ramsey are all $20 million players.
Yeah.
Then you get Humphrey, Lattimore, and Howard there's two $19 million players, one $18 million player in Howard, and then you've got a 17 in White, and then you start with 16, 3 16s in a row.
Yeah, so you're paying him about 20. You're probably paying $20 million a year, and then you're going to pay Micah and CD Lamb. Like, those are the three big money deals that are on the horizon here. And do you guys have an order there? I think we'd all go Micah 1. And then it would probably be a coin flip on Lamb Diggs. Not for me. I'd go Lamb 2, Diggs 3.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I would start the Diggs one as quickly as I can. You know why? I think he's going to be the hardest one to do.
Because he's not going to play as nice during negotiations kind of thing?
I don't think he is.
He's going for every last cent.
I would say this one is going to get maybe a little nasty. And I say that just not because I've heard anything from anybody or anything like that. I just kind of feel like that there is going to be a certain chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
That with, you've got the extra year. We talked about they need to stagger these contracts so they don't keep coming up at the same time. You got the 5th year on Lamb. You're fine. You can take care of that. I'm starting on this Diggs one. If you're going to do it, start on it now.
Yeah.
Because it's only going to get harder with him, I believe.
I think it's really hard to determine the exact value because he's not the best corner in the game. He's never going to be a candidate to be an All-Pro again unless he gets like 8 or 9 picks. I think this year the team could say, look, you didn't get a lot of targets. You could have given up a lot more yards, but our other corner was so bad, they just kept attacking him the last 5 games of the regular season. So I definitely think there's some weakness to it, but you don't find perfect corners. Like maybe Sauce Gardner's going to be the next perfect corner and he'll be there for 3 or 4 years. You had Patrick Peterson at the height of his powers. You had Richard Sherman. You had Revis. But these guys are so rare, and Diggs is definitely a $20 million guy. You know, a lot of different angles on this conversation. The morning news story points out that his quiet nature makes him a recluse in the locker room, which I'm fine with, but some teams want leadership qualities. If they're going to give you the big money, they want to know that you're a leader as well. For me, I'm okay if you're just awesome and you're kind of quiet. That's not that big of a negative to me. And then Gelkin talks about how this team has to be careful because evaluating their own guys has been tough. Yeah. In 2019, Zeke, Lyle Collins, Jalen Smith, none of those worked out well.
Yeah.
None of those within a short period of time were you excited about. So as the front office, you got to be like, guys, what could we be missing here? You know, is there any way we're going to regret Trevon Diggs if you sign him long term? I think we've seen enough good football. This isn't a guy like Lyle Collins who's maybe unfocused in the offseason. This isn't a guy like Zeke who just plays a position that's tough to age well in. This isn't Jalen Smith who was, you know, playing with a significant handicap. We're good with Trevon Diggs, right? For the life of his deal, he'll play about as well as he has the last 2 years.
Yeah, because he doesn't play overly physical, so like he's not going to have much wear and tear. And I think you see a little bit of that with Jalen Ramsey right now. Jalen Ramsey was a guy that would come up and smack you a little bit, and maybe he's now aging a little bit more poorly than he would like, and so that's something to consider. And Trevon Diggs, 24, 25 years old, barely been playing the position. So, and we've talked about this for a couple of years now with him now, but you would think he's still ascending a little bit, still kind of learning the position.
Sure.
Relative to what most of these guys that you just rattled off, all those top big corner probably been playing
Alexander,
the position
Ward,
for 20
Ramsey,
years.
Humphrey, Lattimore,
They've all been playing.
He wasn't tackling in his youth when you would learn how to tackle. You know,
he's a wide receiver.
I would make that a big point in the negotiations as well, though. Like I kind of get you making business decisions as a second-round pick, making $2 million a year or something like that. Now that we're giving you all this, can we get the tackling? Is that coming along with it? Was this an idea that you had that you didn't want to get hurt? Because once you make that kind of a financial commitment, we kind of need you to be all in.
Well, the problem is when you make that financial commitment, he's got you over a barrel.
Sure.
Yeah, now he can miss and avoid and do whatever he wants.
Listen, you pay me to cover, you don't pay me to tackle.
I hear you. Yeah, like Dion said at the Hall of Fame, I tackled all my mom's bills.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for that. I would say when it comes to self-scouting, the terrifying reality is the Cowboys are about to give the franchise tag to Tony Pollard. Mm-hmm. You know, we talk about this, and it's like, are the Cowboys learning from their past? They're about to give huge money, double digits of millions to a running back again. So,
well, if they move on from Zeke, then it shouldn't be a problem, right?
No, it still is.
It
still is a problem. We just talked about yesterday, every Super Bowl champion over the last decade's paying $1 million or less, pretty much, a max $2 million for their running back, and you're going to go pay 10 to one who's coming off an injury.
Well, you got guys like Emmitt Smith coming out, though. Did you hear what he said about this whole thing about running backs?
Mm-mm.
He said it's a marketing ploy behind it to convince everybody that the position is not as valuable as it should be or it once used to be. It's a shame. They're reducing the value of running backs and pushing them out to wide receivers and cornerbacks and the quarterbacks. And this is all about fantasy football and the points that you gain in fantasy football, period.
Well, he's a crusty and a former running back, so I'm not going to dislike him for that opinion.
Right.
He's just dead balls on wrong. You know, the running game is important. The individual running back, unfortunately, isn't because they're so interchangeable. They're fungible. Running backs are fungible.
Who do you feel better about as a player? Do you feel better about Diggs or Pollard? Just as a player.
Pollard.
I mean, yeah, Pollard.
Yeah.
Pollard's a better player, but if I had to project it into the future, it would be Diggs by a long shot.